this guy, we're marrying them off. Let's say we marry them off at, let's say, 16. They have a son. By the time he's, let's say, 22 or 25, you're retiring him. Somebody that age is simply not going to be able to compete with the whole established bureaucracy and this really entrenched political power of the Fujiwaras. And they don't. We go for a couple of hundred years with really no serious resistance on the part of the imperial family. Now, one of the reasons you can say, well, why do they do this? Well, consider the options. And there are some interesting options in all of this where emperors suddenly took sick and died by pure chance, no doubt. The Fujiwaras are going to be pretty ruthless in all of this. They are pretty ruthless about all of this. And any emperor, you have a choice. You can retire and study Buddhism and practice your shodo, or you can be poisoned. And that's a pretty easy choice for most people. Like, let me think about this for a minute. No, not really. Remember, the imperial household has no military. In fact, during this period, there's no standing army in Japan. There are people who have military skills, and during this period, we're going to talk about this, we see the development of people who are military professionals. We see that during this period, we're going to start seeing the development of a warrior class, in effect. But this group is not that. This group is the nobility is not, warrior stuff is not one of the things they do. We're going to talk about what they do, but it's not warrior stuff. So you don't have an army, you don't have an independent court system of any kind, because the court system is tied up in the government. It's all kin-based, and in effect, it's all Fujiwaras. So you really don't have much choice. And there are worse things than to be retired to a life of wealth and leisure. If somebody wanted to offer me a couple $1 million, to retire from teaching, I think I'd be awfully tempted. Although I'd probably keep some teaching because I like it. But I could be conned out of doing 3 classes a day in Temple. I could be bought off. If anybody has a couple extra $1 million, Marlon Brando, the famous American actor, has a great line about if somebody would just put $5 million on his doormat every 6 months, he'd never act again. He said this when I was like 40. Basically, he said he became an actor because it paid better than anything else. He spent the rest of his time doing stuff he likes to do, which has nothing to do with acting, which is interesting for someone who's considered to be one of the best actors of all time. Anyway, this is the idea of the Fujiwara Regency. Now, what's critical here? The idea of abdication, which is a word you should know. Actually, you all should know. The idea of a regency, which is where you're ruling power. We're going to come back to regencies again. This happens a couple of times in Japanese history. Oh, it happened several times, but a couple of times it's really critical. Just to jump a little bit ahead, Tokugawa Ieyasu is one of 6 regents who, when Hideyoshi dies in 1598, there are 6 people who are named regents for Hideyoshi's young son. And 5 of them try to wipe out the 6th regent. This is the same hardball politics. The 6th regent being Tokugawa Ieyasu. They are not successful. Tokugawa Ieyasu, the Battle of Sekigahara in 1600, defeats the other 5 regents and becomes boss of Japan. But the structure there that Hideyoshi set up, which has a bunch of interesting twists and turns to it, is for his son that was too young, he tried to have a balance of regents, and he knew this was going to get nasty. But his idea was that they would basically balance each other off, and no one could be able to take over. And in a sense, he was right, because no one wanted to. Tokugawa Ieyasu who was not the world's nicest guy, but was not attacking the other 5. The other 5 were attacking him, in effect. And that's something that he did. And then he ends up eventually burning Hideyoshi's son in Osaka Castle, the siege of Osaka Castle. This Tokugawa down. But that's, again, this idea of regency, the idea of ruling in charge or in place of a king, or in this case, an emperor that's too young. Okay?